Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to share with you guys some of the books that has helped me develop a positive mindset when it comes to money. I also have a bonus book that I want to share with you guys that has to do with building habits or breaking bad habits. And I know it's not a personal finance book, but I think it could really help you if you're trying to develop good habits when it comes to being better with your money. And the very first book I'm going to share with you guys is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I lost the cover. I'm actually, whenever I read, and if a book has a cover, I tend to take it off. And I think I just lost it, or one of my kids, I don't know what they did to it, but it just looks like this now. But this is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, and it is the first book that I did read related to personal finance. And I believe I read this in April of 2018. If you're new here, mine and my husband's debt-free journey started in 2018, and I remember finding Dave's channel on YouTube because he does have a Dave Ramsey radio show called I think it's just called the Dave Ramsey Radio Show, and on there he does he takes calls from people who want advice on getting out of debt or becoming financially free. He also does this one segment it's called like the debt-free scream, and I thought that was so amazing. So I ended up finding his book, I think through that way. I ended up Googling it and bought it on Amazon. And what I love about this book is that it's kind of like I feel like it was kind of that tough love that I needed to hear, and that I think what Dave is known for. He's, very, all about that, live on that rice and beans kind of diet until you get out of debt. So with this being the very first personal finance book that I've read, I thought it was a really great book. He addresses a lot of the money myths that a lot of people have and what the actual truth is. He also includes real life success stories within the chapters as well, depending on what part of the book that you're on that has to do with that topic. What's also great about the book is that Dave pretty much gives you a step-by-step plan to become financially free. So he developed the 7 baby steps towards financial freedom. I have it right in front of my computer screen here so I don't go out of order. So number 1 is to save $1,000 as your starter emergency fund. Baby step number 2 is pay off your debt. Baby step number 3 is have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved for emergencies. And then baby step number 4 is to start investing. Baby step number 5 is save for kids' college. Baby step number 6 is pay off home. And then baby step number 7 is to give like no other. And I believe there's 3 of them in there. I think it's the invest, save for college, and pay off your home is all at the same time. Again, this was the first book that I've read with personal finance. So for me, it was pretty mind-blowing because I really wanted to be debt-free. I really wanted to be financially secure. So I followed the steps. I did eventually kind of took a pause on the debt and then started saving more. So yeah, but I'm not gonna get into too much of that. Yeah, that is the very first book that I read, very first financial book that I read. And from there, I just became hooked with learning all that I can with personal finance. So moving on to the second book, this one is called The Wealthy Gardener. And I read this, I think, the beginning of 2020, and I saw it through someone's Instagram, and I just fell in love with it. I think I read it really fast because the way the book is formatted and how it's told, it made me just want to keep reading more. So a little bit about the author. So it's by John Soforic. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he wrote the book to help teach his son money lessons. And the way he wrote this book, half of it is fiction, the other half is nonfiction. So the other half of the story or the chapters is based on his experience around money. So the first half of the lessons, so let me take it back. So the chapters are divided into lessons, and in that lesson, at the beginning of it, there's a quote, and then there's a parable, like a story, the fictional story. And the main character in there is called the Wealthy Gardener, and he also has other characters in there, his apprentice, and then someone that works for him in his farm. And then the second half of the chapter or that lesson is the author's experience around money and around that lesson. And at the end of the chapter is a lesson from the author. So I flipped through the book and just kind of checked out the ones that I flagged or highlighted or wrote down some. Let me share with you guys one of the chapters that I highlighted. So in one of the chapters, it's titled, or one of the lessons, it's titled A Big Why. And on there it says, a big why, a purpose that drives sacrifice, a cause that fuels persistence. And then it goes into the story. In part of that story, the wealthy gardener says to his apprentice, if it's fun you're after, a goal of wealth isn't for you. But if it's freedom you need, the sacrifice is worth it. And then after that story, the author goes into his own personal experience around that. And then the lesson at the end from the author is, I learned that prosperity required uncommon persistence, but my willpower was assured by my why power. And as you guys know, having that strong why is what's going to get you through all the hard moments and big sacrifices that you have to make in order to achieve your goals. And for us, that is to become debt-free, become financially free, and to ensure my family's future, especially my kids' future, is secure. I really love this book. I'm actually planning on rereading this year. So, the last personal finance book I'm going to share with you guys, I'm actually not done reading it yet. It's called It's Not About the Money. And I wish that I would have started out with this book first because I should say who the author is, huh? So it's by It's by Brent Kessel, and he is a personal advisor, personal planner by day. He's a yogi by dawn. That's what it says in the book. So he combines both the yoga practice and meditation and his expertise in the personal finance world. And his approach is to look at your inner self, your core beliefs around money, before you can change whatever financial situation that you're in. He puts challenges in there for you. So in each of the chapters, there is a challenge for you to do. And I think that's probably why it's taking me a little longer to read this, because I do jot some notes down, take a moment to kind of think about this and how it relates to me. And in the book, he talks about the 8 common beliefs around money, and he calls these the core money or the core story archetypes. And there's 8 of them. And I found myself to be a combination of 3. In those chapters, he kind of goes through what each of the archetype is, why they are the way they are, why they believe what they believe about money, and then kind of your way around it. And I really did wish that I would have read this first, because it did help me better understand. I thought I had already understood my core why story, but this book just was a game changer and just really made me take a look and question and reflect my beliefs around money from when I was young. I'm going to do a video about that as well, so be on the lookout for that. But with the Dave Ramsey plan and with a lot of other books, there's always a plan, like a step-by-step how to get out of debt, how to be financially free. And with this book, you kind of have to look into your own belief system first before you can change your financial situation. So one of the things that I highlighted in regard to the different archetypes was identifying the archetypes that are most active within us is an important step toward creating true financial freedom. By bringing awareness to what is unconscious, we can attain balance and a sense of control over our financial destiny. Again, this has been such an amazing read so far, and I truly believe that it can help you figure out your core beliefs around money and how it affects your relationship with money. And I truly believe that this book will help you live a more purposeful, more intentional life. So make sure to check it out. And the very last book, it's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I've read this twice already. It has truly changed the way I look at goal setting and developing habits that'll help me achieve those goals that I have set. So it's not really all about setting the goal. The goal is just the destination. And what you really need to build, or what this book helps you do, is build the systems that you need to have in your life in place in order for you to achieve those goals. And I know this isn't a personal finance book, but if your goal is to be better with your money, there are some habits that you need to implement in your life in order to be better with money. One of those is maybe getting on a budget, tracking your spending so that you're aware of your financial situation and where your money is going. So I believe that those require some good habits that you set in place. One of my biggest takeaways from this book is that little tiny actions, little tiny habits every single day, as James Clear would say it, is improve 1% every single day, and that will truly add up. So one of the things that he says is that it is so easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often, we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. While we didn't achieve the original debt-free goal date that we wanted, we still made so much more progress versus just staying the way we were, continuing to pay off the minimum balance on our cards and our loans. So progress is still progress no matter how small it is. So whatever your goals may be, whether that be you want to lose weight, you want to have your own business, you want to have financial freedom, you want to, whatever goal that you have, I think this book can help you develop those great healthy habits in order for you to achieve them, or help you break the bad habits that you have in place so that it doesn't block you from achieving your goals. So make sure to check this book out. Love this book. I am going to be reading this again this year. And that wraps it up for this video. I truly hope that this was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books or what books you recommend for me to read. I do have a couple of other financial books that I want to reread that I kind of was like when I read it the first time around. So again, thank you guys as always for watching, and I will talk to you in my next video. Have a good one, guys. Bye.